So before we met and before I started doing the life planning piece and the life planning work with clients, it was very much how I'd learned and textbook taught and what everybody else was doing effectively in terms of providing financial advice, which was very much product based, product driven. You know, you've got a pot of money, right? Well, that's a product that we need to sell to plug that in, and it's very much textbook driven and company driven in terms of the company goals, the textbook goals and objectives that drive the advice and the process and the outcomes for the clients, rather than it coming from the clients per se. And almost a reluctance, in fact I would say a definite reluctance to have client goals and objectives in place because of the fear of missing those goals and objectives and actually not achieving those outcomes, and a shyness away from those for fear of falling over and failing to achieve the objectives and outcomes. So that's kind of the approach that it was. What happened in terms of how I changed the way I work? For me personally, I went on a bit of a journey, and I didn't know where I was. I didn't know where I needed to be either, but what I did know is that I wasn't happy doing things the way I was doing. It was too product driven. It was the objectives being placed on the clients rather than the other way around, and I didn't really know what the answer was to some of those questions until we met by chance at a networking event and followed up with our connection, our conversation. And really that journey was driven by yourself in terms of an education around, well, this is how it perhaps could or should be. I know I was a little bit slow to take up and to catch on in the beginning, and through the reading, through our meetings and our conversations, it really just became apparent that there was a better way of doing things. That feeling in the pit of my stomach disappeared, and it just felt like it was the right way to do it. And once the penny drops on how to do it, that's it. There's no turning back then. And really, it's quite an empowering feeling as an IFA now with you know, the way I approach new clients in particular, that I'm doing things in the right way, and because this is how it should be done. It's all about the client. The money isn't the client anymore, and that's how it was. Now the individual is the client. It's the people, it's their goals and objectives that drive the process, rather than a textbook outcome that we're all taught as a you know, kind of traditional way of doing things, really, which is a shame. So in terms of the success that we've had with our new approach of doing things, the business has gone from strength to strength. We were relatively new with the organisation in the beginning when we first met. Relatively new to the company. We have 160 partners nationally. We all run our own individual business unit, and we're now placing the top 10% IFAs within the organisation, which, from being in a position with arguably very little experience prior to that, and coming in as a real newcomer to this side of the work, whilst working in financial services pretty much my whole career, relatively new to the advice side, the gains and the time it's taken to get to where we are now it's humbling how quickly we've got here. And it would not have happened without taking this approach with our clients and with new clients. We're far more referable, we're far more likely to do business, we're far more likely to get more business as well out of each client, because the client, they just tell us everything. The barriers go down, they can see how we do it is the way it should be done. They're sometimes confused and annoyed that they've seen it or had somebody try to apply a different approach to them when they see how we do it. Well, why isn't everybody doing it like this is often the kind of approach or the question that I get. Understandably, And so yeah, it's just been fabulous because it's far more fulfilling. I've got absolutely no reservations around how we do what we do, and yeah, the figures in our position speaks for itself. We're set to have a fabulous year ahead now as well. I'm just excited for the future and just keep doing what we're doing, but refining to do it better and add more good things to the process. Well, we all want to be a trusted financial advisor. It's a huge problem in the industry, and I understand that in many countries surveyed, financial advice is actually one of the lowest trusted industries surveyed, which is a huge shame, but largely understandable when you can look back and reflect on how financial services has traditionally been delivered, and there's some real areas where as an industry we can do things better. So as a result of life planning, what it does is it opens everything up to the client to impart their goals and their objectives and their life into the process, and that becomes the kick, becomes the centre of everything, to which the money facilitates that life that the plan revolves around. And without having that ideal life, without having that picture, you've got no plan. You've got nothing to plan around, basically. And so it becomes really clear and really evident that when the client can see that that's how you're operating and working, then all the barriers disappear, because it's all about the individual, and they feel like they're the crux of it rather than them being sold a product per se. And because of that, they're an open book and you see everything, and so it delivers more opportunities to do business with the client from our point of view, which is fabulous. But every time we do a bit of business, we're adding value to the client, we're adding value to their plan and their process, and helping achieve their goals and objectives. So they're really happy doing business with us as a result of that as well. So yeah, I think in a trust capacity, it's been really good. And as a result of that, when we see our results on feedback on websites such as Vouched For, we'll be featured in 2019 as one of the top rated financial advisors in the UK, or guide to the best financial advisors in the UK, based on those ratings. So the proof is in the pudding, really, and we wouldn't have had those really nice reviews and maintained those high standards without that approach. So from our point of view, that's been a really great validation of what we do and how we do it with those outcomes.